Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked on Bulls. On today's episode, we'll be talking about an update with Zach LaVine's free agency as other teams are now being informed that Zach LaVine plans on re-signing early at the start of free agency with the Chicago Bulls. We'll also be doing a draft profile on Jalen Duren as he has fallen down some mock drafts and could possibly fall to the Chicago Bulls. And then lastly, we will be playing start, bench, cut with former Bulls team. We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked on Bulls.
You are Locked on Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked on Bulls is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you for tuning in to Locked on Bulls. You know we're a member of the Locked on Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That is Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central, where I cover the teams respectively every day. Pat, we got to get into it, man. Zach LaVine's free agency has come full circle, bro. And it's so interesting how that happens. We started off with the season of it. Everybody just thought it was a foregone conclusion. Zach LaVine was going to be back with the Chicago Bulls. And then at the end of the season, went to Zach LaVine is going to go through the process. Then we went through that. Maybe it's not as sure of a thing that Zach LaVine is returning. And now we're right back to where we began with Zach LaVine re-signing with the Chicago Bulls. We've said it. This was the smart move. It was 55 million reasons of why Zach LaVine should come back to the Chicago Bulls. What do you think about this news now that other teams are being informed? And do you think we still had heard that he was still going to go through the process? He was still going to take some meetings. Do those meetings still happen now? What do you think?
I think those meetings will happen. I think there'll be some. Zach's enjoying free agency. Let him have fun. Let him enjoy getting wined and dined. Let him enjoy seeing what it is, right? But at this point, right, you might even see some of the meetings get pulled off the table unless teams are talking about astronomical deals that they're going to pull off. You know, hey, sign here for a year, and then after 1 year, we'll re-up your contract and we'll add all of this. Like, Zach LaVine, I believe, is going to be back here. I think me and you have always felt that he was going to be back here. Mm-hmm. But when you look at some of the things that could have come into place, I see why Clutch Sports was like, hey, we're going to take advantage of this. He wants to play with his buddy down in San Antonio. He wants to go out to Portland with Dame. He wants to win a championship next season. I think there's a interesting angle that Clutch Sports took on this just to avoid what I believe is going to be maybe not getting the Joel Embiid treatment. I think that's what this is going to come out to, right? Like when we're going to see this contract, AK said the knee's not going to play a factor into it. I think that meant that there's going to be that there wasn't going to be anything in there, but I think this was Clutch Sports' opportunity to try and like, hey, let's make sure we don't get because Embiid's right is like if he doesn't play over like 65 games or something, he has to give so much amount of money back. If he doesn't play through this many amount of playoff games, he has to give so much amount of money back. You don't want to see that in your guy's contract, especially when he's getting his first big deal. So I think it's just a good job by Clutch Sports on marketing. I don't say Clutch does many things well. As they have many lawsuits pending right now. But I think they did a good job on Zach LaVine's free agency. Because you think about it, dog, nobody was talking about Zach LaVine as this level of player until free agency or until there was a possibility he could leave. They did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, Clutch did their thing. That's what it boils down to. Clutch Sports did what an agent is supposed to. You're supposed to get your client the most money possible, and that's exactly what they did. And, you know, were the Bulls going to try to work in some injury provisions in there? I mean, that's a question. It's a legitimate question to ask, especially when you look at the fact that, you know, people say that Zach LaVine hasn't been healthy. Really, the last 2 seasons before this one, he's been healthy for the most part. Besides COVID, like they can't control that. But yeah, I mean, no structural damage with the knee, not projected to be anything long term. Zach was going to get his money, and I mean, shout out to Zach. Shout out for Clutch Sports doing the thing. The thing I want to ask you now is with Zach signing early in free agency, right? And I've always said this over in Chicago Bulls Central. I don't think that I've said it here. Is that I thought, hey, maybe Zach takes 2-3 days in the free agency to have these meetings before he signs his deal. What potential free agents do the Bulls miss out on because they really can't pull the trigger or anything until they sign Zach? Yeah. Now, with it seeming like he's going to commit early in free agency, how aggressive do you expect AK and Eversley to be after Zach LaVine signs on the dotted line?
I think they'll be very aggressive because we know that AK wants to win right now while winning for the future.
Mhm,
I don't know if he'll be Rudy Gobert aggressive, right? Like that's mad aggressive. Like
mhm,
that's New York in the middle of the street aggressive right there. Like I don't know if he'll go that hard, but I feel like right, like there's room for him now as he's going in this with an understanding of what the cap's gonna be for him to go after some of those, right? Not the superstar players, not just star players, but kind of that next tier of okay, hey, we want to get you in here. We feel like you can be this next level player. We want to
mhm,
get you in here on this level of contract now, maybe a 2-year deal on a Mitchell Robinson or something like that. I don't think you're going to see anything long term because of what Zach is getting here. I don't think you're going to see 5-year deals or 4-year deals coming down the pipeline this offseason, like we saw last season with Alex Caruso and stuff like that. But I think you're going to see the Bulls be very aggressive at the guys they want to go after, at some of the guys that they feel can come in here and make an instant impact, and maybe even in the trade market, right? Like we could be all excited about this and going into this aggressively, and all of a sudden, the draft pick's not there anymore. Right,
right,
like we're doing all these
mhm.
draft breakdowns, and literally in 1 second it could all change because AK found a better player that's already here. So I think they're gonna go hard on this. What about you though?
I think, like I said, I really think we're going to see how aggressive they are at the draft. Like depending on what they do there, I think that's going to set the tone, and then this is just going to increase from that point on. To your point, I think that's a great point that you made. There is that DeMar DeRozan is this season and next season. Maybe we do see a bunch of 2-year deals, so that way you can maximize on cap space.
Yep.
Because if DeMar does leave, Mitchell, whoever they do end up bringing in, let's say that they've played good for us, but we're not a championship level, that may be your last time, especially with Zach LaVine, Io DeSumu's getting a contract extension this offseason, things like that. Patrick Williams will be up for an extension at that point too. That may be your last time to have considerable cap space for the foreseeable future. So,
No, 100%. And it's about how you want to use it, right? Like you've got a couple of players that I don't think most of us believe there's going to be a re-up, at least anywhere near the bag on DeMar DeRozan that he got now. I don't know if it
mhm,
means he's going to be out of the league, but I don't think there's going to be a huge re-up. I don't think there's going to be a re-up on Nikola Vucevic anywhere near that number. So you could be talking about the Bulls trying to position themselves while winning, while still having talent on this team, which is something
mhm,
that Garpax and them didn't do, right? While winning, hey, we want to add a big name player to the big name players that we have. In a couple of years, I think you can see the Bulls trying to do that there,
right.
because of how much money is going to be coming off of the books. And maybe you don't go back in on a DeMar, you don't go back in on a Vooch because hopefully, and this is the game plan, right? P. Will and Io develop, and so they're
Mhm,
cheap.
yeah.
And you can basically come out of this thing on the other side and say, hey, we've still got a ton of money to add a real big name player to this Bulls team moving forward. And I think that changes the
Yeah.
trajectory of this team very quickly and
There's
very, very strong.
there's another player that we need to mention right real quick before we end this first segment. There was recently a picture posted of one Marco Simonovic.
Hey,
Hey,
I
Marco's put on some serious weight, bro. It's
Marco
not.
Mar-
He's
Marco's
like
put
the
on
same
some weight.
size as Vooch now.
Yeah, Marco's put on some weight. Now, Marco really looks like Vooch when he first got to Orlando.
Well, I
That's
said
what
that
I saw.
before. That's what he looked like when he came in, but now he's even bigger than that. Like Marco's put on considerable weight,
I don't know. Vooch was like Marco bigger, right? But Vooch was like strong. Like Vooch
bro.
was strong
He
that
was
first
strong
year
for a skinny
Orlando.
dude, but Vooch, considering he played college in the States, Vooch definitely looked like he didn't eat any American. Like he didn't get any McDonald's that time he played in USC. Like he still stayed healthy eating because yeah, Vooch was
Hey
still
man,
pretty skinny
what he
when he
gonna
came
eat?
up.
In-N-Out burger? Ain't that good, man. No, Marco's gonna be another one, man. Hopefully
Yeah.
he pans into something. I think that's gonna be something to see, dog. I hope. Here's the thing, right? It's gonna be one of two things. Either we've talked about all of these names for absolutely no reason because none of them play a bearing on the Bulls' future, or they're gonna
Mhm.
be stars. I don't think there's really gonna be a middle with any of this.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But all right, next up, we're going to be talking about one of the players that the Bulls could select in the upcoming draft. But first, I got to talk to you guys about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information, including live bettings, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Pat. So we're going to talk about a prospect who initially coming into this draft was expected to be, I think, top 10, top 12 at the latest. I just checked before we actually started. There are now 10 at least mock drafts that have him going 16th or 15th to the Charlotte Hornets. So maybe it is the 16th pick. I don't remember.
I think 15th for sure.
15th. Okay, 15th. Is there a possibility that the Chicago Bulls either move up or maybe we do see Jalen Duren, a player that people can't coming into this draft, though there was no way that he could fall to the Chicago Bulls. Now, EJ Liddell and Tari Eason are the most common in mock drafts going to the Bulls. What do you think about the chance that a player like Jalen Duren falls to the Bulls?
I guess my only question is why is he falling, right? Like he doesn't have the same things attached to him that EJ Liddell and other guys do, right? He's 18 years old. EJ Liddell is literally just
I think Jalen Duren is literally the youngest player in the draft.
Yeah, he's 18 years old. He's a 12-8 guy, 59% around a rim. Most of his offense does come around the rim. Just about all of his offense comes around the rim, which is fine, right? Like he's a traditional big man, and maybe that's the reason that he's falling. He's still a guy who to me projects to be a prolific shot blocker in the NBA. Watching his tape when he was on the chase down, dog, like he was chasing people down like they were at the bucket making a layup, and he's like at the free throw line catching it off the glass. Like he's super athletic, super quick, runs the floor very well. On the offensive side, you're talking about a guy. What I saw in him was a dude that ran the floor similar to a small forward, but jumped like how Daniel Gafford did on alley oops, except he's 6'11", where Daniel Gafford's like 6'9".
So Jalen Duren reminds me of a mix between the physicality of an Andre Drummond, but with the athleticism of a JaVale McGee in his prime.
I'll agree with that. That's not bad. Like, and so I don't know why he's falling all of a sudden, right? Like, is Mark Williams moving up in these?
Mark Williams is moving down too. He's moving down. They're both, and I think what it is, I think what we're seeing is that maybe the question about how their offensive game, because keep in mind, Jalen Duren has no back to the basket game, no mid range game to be set up right now. It's primarily in the NBA. He's gonna get you blocks, he's gonna get you rebounds, he's gonna do all that athletic thing, but he's going to live off fast breaks, lobs, and pick and rolls, and somebody who can go over the top. So maybe what we're seeing is that those teams that are in the top. And keep in mind, there are a lot of teams in this draft too, as well, that have kind of high picks that aren't that far from actually competing. It's not like one of those times where a lot of the top teams are so far off that. Yeah. So maybe we're seeing that those teams are now projected to take maybe more polished players that don't have as much true upside, but that can help them contribute right now. Because when you look at like a team, Orlando, they're far off, right? Houston, they're far off. Sacramento, they're far off. Detroit, not that far off. Yeah. Indiana, you can see. Portland, they can make the right move that can get them right back to being in consideration. New Orleans, with Zion now being healthy again, maybe they do. We already know the Spurs are always ready to go and turn things around. So, and even Charlotte with their 2 lottery picks, they're not really, may not view themselves as being far off. So maybe we're seeing those type of teams. Cleveland as well, another team above us. Maybe we're seeing those teams maybe take some of these older prospects that are sophomore, juniors, rather than go with somebody who's so raw like a Jalen Duren.
It's still interesting to me, right? Because like even like in Houston, it would seem like he's the perfect kind of player for you. Maybe a little high for Jalen Duren, but I would feel like he's the perfect kind of player for you, right? Youngest player in the draft. He's gonna run the floor with Jalen Green in the mugs. You know what I'm saying? Like he's quick, he's athletic, he's a great rebounder. I think he projects to be a nice player off of the pick and pop as well in the mid range. I don't think he's gonna be great, right? But he'll be somebody who can turn that into a threat. I don't know. I don't know if the Bulls will get him. I'll ask you this though, right? Are we seeing how the NBA feels, no matter where you're slated, how talented you are, about that kind of big man now? Are
I
we
think
seeing
that's
that
what we're
the NBA
seeing.
is just like, I don't want it, even if it is going to come in and give me solid production, good production, even great production, it's not the kind of player I want.
I think what we're seeing is that the NBA is prioritizing guards over big men. If you're going to go with high upside, right? Because you can go with a raw guard, and that guard can still, even if they don't turn into a 16, 18 point per game score, they can turn into a solid defender that gets you about 11 points per game, and you don't have to worry about the big man who you have no idea of what their offense is going to look like on the NBA level. I think that's what we're seeing. And, looking at a lot of the mocks, there are a ton of guards and wings that are going high up, whereas the big men are falling.
It's so weird to me too, because it's like I think the thing about it, right? Like, I take Kobe White into account, whether Kobe White becomes this great player that Bulls fans hope he is or not. And I think everybody wants Kobe White to be successful, but
Yeah.
if Kobe White can't knock down a shot, Kobe White can't be in the NBA. There's no use for him. He's not that great of a facilitator yet. He's not that great of a defender yet. If he's not knocking down a shot, if he's not finding a way to get himself going offensively, there really is no use for him on the floor. Whereas with a big man, right? Like Tony Bradley was pretty useless, but in a 10-game stretch, we found a use for him. Tony, just be tall, grab rebounds, pass the ball away. Don't do nothing. Be tall, grab rebound. And so it's so weird to me to see like a Jalen Duren, right? He's 18 years old. He seems like he's going to have this high upside as a big shot blocker, second chance kind of player. Apparently that's 200 million for Rudy Gobert. And maybe Rudy Gobert is the one that killed it, right? Maybe they were like, they paid that man 200 million. We're not getting bigs like that no more. You got to pay that 200 million. Maybe that's what killed it, right? So I'm very confused on it. I get that there's some things that he has to improve on, right? Like finishing around the rim, not great when finishing with the layup instead of just dunking it. Definitely needs to improve on shooting. Definitely needs to improve on a little bit of his court vision and a little bit defensively, right? He's a good, I'm gonna go up and get it block guy. He's not a good just face up, I'm gonna stay in front of you defensive guy. But again, right, like 6'11" and 18, I don't know how he's falling like this. Like maybe it is, like you said, just the change of the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, hey, and then we still don't know what deals are going to happen. Like, I think this draft is going to go. Whereas for a while there, it looked like, hey, you kind of know within like a 2 to 3 pick range on where most of these players are going.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a night, and this is why we may see no serious. And again, this is where AK and Eversley may be being highly intelligent and be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
We're seeing maybe they do move back, and they still get the guy that we thought that they would have had to move up for by moving back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you this before we end this part of the segment. As of right now, and it could change over the course of the next. The draft is in at this point while this is recording 3 days away. Who right now do you think the Bulls are drafting? If you had to bet your money on not if they're going to keep it or not, if they keep the pick, who you putting your money on? See how I know you? See, I know you had to throw that caveat in there. I know.
I was definitely about to say I don't think they draft nobody. I think they trade it. If they had to draft somebody right now, you know what? I would say I would rather see them go with EJ Liddell, but seeing what the Bulls needed size-wise and moving forward, knowing kind of like, listen, I think no matter what, Marco's never going to turn into whether he becomes a great player or not, he's never going to be a great defender. You didn't see it with him overseas. I doubt you'll see it with him here. He's all of a sudden going to develop these defensive instincts. I think it would be tough for AK, especially if he's looking long-term, to pass on Mark Williams, if indeed Mark Williams does fall. Again, not the pick I would make. I would love to see an EJ Liddell there because I think EJ Liddell can give you some help while you're in this run and moving forward throughout the duration of Zach's contract, Patrick Williams developing, all of that stuff. But I think it's going to be tough for him to pass on one of those big guys that if you have to eventually put him in next to Vooch or in next to Marko Simonovic, that is just a defensive god. And so I think there's going to be a couple of those guys that fall down there. So I think either Jalen Duren or Mark Williams could be that name. Again, a Walker Kessler's one that you might see him go with there. But I think he's probably going to go with one of the younger shot blocking big men.
So, I've been high on EJ Liddell. I do think he'd be the one that I bet my money on is the pick because he checks so many things that the Bulls need right now, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, somebody who can come in and play a role for you right now. But I tell you what, bro, I read this thing that there was a workout with Tari Eason and he was draining threes. And that was something you didn't see. So if Tari Eason could develop a 3-point shot.
Hey, he better be draining like 100 of them, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. You gotta prove to me that this ain't just a day.
Yeah, he just didn't have a hot day. But yeah, I definitely put my money right now on EJ Liddell. But if a Jalen Duren, a Marco, if one of those guys fall to the Bulls, bro, you have to take them at that point. And you know what? Even try to make a deal if you still want EJ Liddell. Try to make a deal to move down in the draft, see what you can get for some of these other players. But you kind of have to roll the dice on one of those because
I think that's the wild thing, bro. Like you think about that. Like think about the guys we're talking about. Yeah. Not even everybody says like back in the 90s. No, like 10 years ago, 2010s, right? Like these are top 5 picks. This would be a great draft. This would be a star-studded draft because of how many big shot blocking bigs there are coming out of it with offensive upside. That's crazy how far we are from the NBA. Tari Eason's going to go 18th possibly. EJ Liddell, Walker Kessler. Yeah. That's crazy to me.
Speaking of, our boy Walker Kessler has gone all the way down.
Skyrocketing.
But all right, moving on from that. Well, let's get into the last topic today. This one is a topic from Pat the Designer. So I'm going to kind of, after I introduce him, I'm going to let you take it over and explain what you got here. So we got how did you word this? Start, bench, cut. What you got planned for us, Pat?
So basically, right, the game that we all play, start, bench, cut. But instead of the players, right? Instead of the players, I thought about going teams. Because we've all got our favorite Bulls teams, but right, like none of them have been like, it's sad to say, right? None of them have been this great playoff team. So I was doing teams that made it into the first round of the NBA playoffs. And that was kind of it. So, start, bench, cut. I did the 08-09 Bulls? Maybe I did. Okay, I wrote it down here like that. So the 08-09 Bulls, the 07-08 Bulls, and the 2021-2022 Chicago Bulls. Out of those 3 teams, I feel like I meant a different first team on that one. I feel like I wrote that down wrong. I think I wanted to go with the what was our Ben Gordon team, the Baby Bulls team, 04-05, right? I think I wrote that down wrong when I wrote it down. Hey man, hey, listen.
So you want to go 04-05 Bulls, then the 08-09 Bulls?
Yeah, Bulls that went up against Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So the Bulls that played against gave Miami fits. The Bulls that went up against the Boston Celtics, and then this season's Chicago Bulls. Okay. Where are you going there?
So the 04-05 Bulls, that is, we went all the way to the conference finals. Oh no, first round.
I was gonna say, brother.
I was about to say, wait a second. I was cross-eyed there for a second.
Hey, wait a minute. I forgot a season. Apparently,
we lost to the Washington Wizards 2-4 in that. I mean, I think this is easy, bro. And I don't mean like the I'm starting the team that went 7 games with Boston Celtics in the first round. The 08-09 Bulls, bro. That team was just such a fun team. The start of Derrick Rose, like Derrick Rose in that season, like over the course of that season, I think people started realizing, oh, this Derrick Rose kid is going to be good. Oh no, he's going to be really good. Oh no, he's going to be damn good. And then in that series, it's like, oh no, Derrick Rose is about to be a superstar.
Now here's the thing, right? Because you're doing start bench cuts, you basically got to match those teams up against the other teams. Is that team beating the 2021-2022 Chicago Bulls or the 04-05 Chicago Bulls? 04-05 maybe.
Oh wait, so we're putting these teams against each other?
Basically, start bench cut, bro.
Well, see, start bench cut is different when you're doing with players because you just pick who you're going to start bench or cut.
Pick who you're going to start bench cut, but you putting them against each other. Who would I rather have in the starter? Yeah, I'm saying it's a variation of it. I don't know what you would call this, right? Like first, second, third. I don't know. Well, like for me, right? I would put the 2021-2022 Bulls.
Yeah, I think you would have to if you go
over the 08-09 Chicago.
If this was the 09-10 Bulls, I'd pick those over the 21-22 Bulls. But the 08-09 Bulls, I'm thinking, yeah, fully healthy, right? Fully healthy. I'm going 21-22 Bulls. Easily.
That's it's close, right? It's close. It's not like I feel like fully healthy. I feel better about that team, but man, I mean, like Ben Gordon. Hey, listen. We know our problem with the corner three here.
Yeah.
Ben Gordon, open, corner three. We saw that in that Boston series.
Yeah.
Draining that mug, bro. He might be lacing DeMar.
Yeah, but listen, fully keep in mind.
DeMar, though.
That's why I said fully healthy, though. That means you're keeping always either Lonzo, Alex Caruso, or Ayo Dosunmu on Ben Gordon.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. 04-05 Bulls do nothing for you on that one.
They don't do nothing for me, bro.
Nothing. They made the playoffs just to make it.
I mean, listen, I love that team, bro. I love the heart of that. That was the team that it was just heart and determination. Yeah. They've won 47 games that year.
Oh, bro, we won 40. You ever go back and just look at some of the seasons and you think like we made the playoffs?
Some of the teams
by the skin of our teeth, and we actually like were dominant.
And some of the teams that Tibbs was getting us 50 wins with is just ridiculous. But
it cracks me up. Like when I was doing this exercise, I was going back and looking at it, and I was like, bro, like we won a lot more games than I thought we did, bro. Like, yeah. I mean, hey, Luol Deng, you got young Luol, Chris Duhon, Ben Gordon, Kirk Heinrich. You got Noach on that team. Somebody's getting in a fight. Somebody's getting in a fight.
Listen,
young Tyson Chandler was kind of getting cooked. I'm not gonna lie. Young Tyson Chandler and Eddie Curry was kind of getting cooked.
No, not kind of. They was getting cooked.
Yeah, they was getting cooked.
Vooch was killing Eddie Curry. Like, listen, I'm talking about Vooch. Vooch is getting 30 and 15 against Eddie Curry.
Bro. That's crazy though, right? Like I think more so, right? The 09 Bulls, right? You think about them and you're like, man, like,
oh, they're putting up a fight.
They're putting up a fight for sure. Yeah. Like it's no disrespect. Yeah, I fully expect them to get there. By the way, who remembers a Lindsey Hunter on that team? By the way,
I absolutely remember Lindsey Hunter and his he has no neck. He had no neck at all. I absolutely remember Lindsey.
No neck, Lindsey, bro. No ligaments, Lindsey out here. I feel like that team puts up more of a fight than we give it credit for. And you're thinking about, right, like who's gonna hold Derrick Rose? Lonzo Ball can't hold young Derrick Rose.
Keep him up. That was that's rookie Derrick Rose. He can do something with that Derrick. Now, if you're talking about year 2 and year 3, bro. Lonzo could guard fully healthy. Lonzo could guard. I'm not saying he's shutting them down, but Lonzo is absolutely making it tough on Derrick Rose in that series.
But this is the problem, right? If Derrick is getting past Lonzo, that's it. There's no interior defense on this Bulls team. Points in the paint, we got dominated on all
because
teams.
We're saying fully healthy. We don't know what Patrick Williams is going to give us. He's the X factor.
You know what? That's a fact, right? That's a fact. But Patrick, I'm not gonna lie. Listen. No matter what, Patrick Williams and Vooch, Joakim Noah's bullying them. Joakim Noah's bullying them. Now, this is young Joakim as well, right? This is young Joakim.
This is before he was the walking double-double.
Joakim was going head up with KG and Perk.
True, but he wasn't getting much results with that, though.
KG wasn't in
because he wasn't in the series. Yeah.
But I mean, hey, listen, that's a tough one, bro. That 08, 09 team, I might. Hey, Drew Gooden was going up. No, I'm just playing.
No, I
Hey,
think actually Drew Gooden did give us some good games that series.
hey, Drew Gooden did give him some good games that season. I ain't gonna lie to you, but Luol Deng is guarding who? Luol's on Zach or is Luol on DeMar?
I think Luol got to be on DeMar.
Luol's making DeMar's life tough. It's not. I'm not saying he's stopping him, but I think
Bro,
Luol Deng.
DeMar is going like Luol would literally at the end of that game, he'd be like, "Hey man, listen, how did he do a triple spin on me? What
Well,
happened?"
I'll say this, right? Luol, I think, could give you the same defensive pressure. And I'll bet you, because that's still Vinny Del Negro, right? That's not
Yeah,
Thibs yet.
that's
That's
not
still Vinny.
Tibbs.
That's
Yeah.
still Vinny. So I'll bet you Luol Deng could give you the same pressure that Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Wes Matthews did in the playoffs on DeMar DeRozan.
No, not on DeMar.
Really?
Not on DeMar. No.
Really?
Not on DeMar.
The
bro.
dude that put up 15 in the playoffs for us.
But again, keep in mind that team. That team was a completely different team. Like it's night and day with the Bulls in the playoffs.
But Lou had been in the league for a minute at this point. What's he, 5 years in the league at this point?
He wasn't because he came in the same year as Ben, right? Him and Ben came in the same year.
That's still that's
that would only be the third year.
04. That's 04, right?
Let me go double check.
And so that's 5 years in the NBA at this point.
No, Luol was not in the league 5 years.
And this is 6'10" Luol Deng at this point.
This thing man says 6'10".
He'd already hit his growth spurt.
Luol Deng was drafted in 2004.
So that's 5 years in the NBA already.
No, that's his fourth year in the NBA. It's 08-09. The season started in 08. That's
08-09. Okay. All right. 08-09. So that's still 4 years in the NBA.
So that season he gave us 14 points per game, 40% shooting from three, which was the highest of his career. Shout out to Luol Deng. And 44% overall from the field, 6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and 1 steal per game.
I think
that's a pretty damn good stat line, bro.
I'll say this. The only thing that really gives me the edge over of the 2021 team over this, it's not DeMar or Vooch. It's the fact that I don't think there's nobody on this lineup that really can stay in front of Zach LaVine. Unless you have Luol. Luol's got to guard one of them, right?
Wait. So we gotta give now. You know, I'm also I'm on the team 21-22 team, but I think young Kurt is going to throw a couple of elbows at Zach, bro.
Young Kirk is doing it, bro.
Keep in mind, Kirk Heinrich used to guard Joe Johnson, prime Joe Johnson, and give him some business.
That's a fact. I give you that. I'll give you that. But I don't know, bro. Kirk Heinrich. Hey, first off, y'all let us know in the comments below. This is why I came up with this. This is a great debate. Hey, the poor 04-05 team. Like, they just like, yo, we just here, brother. Like,
y'all.
Ben Gordon, like, I won 6 man of the year. We was cooking. Like, we don't get no love on that. Who else? Man, actually, this team was full of defenders, though. But I don't know if they stopped John Salmons, Thabo Cephalosha. I don't know if they stand in front of Zach, though.
Thabo showed flashes that season.
Yeah,
that was his rookie season too.
Thabo wasn't the OKC defender yet.
Yeah,
he wasn't the OKC defender yet. And then Tyrese Thomas is getting ate up by Patrick Williams, right? Like,
oh, bro, Tyrese Thomas is going to be benched. Like, Vinny Del Negro would be so frustrated by Tyrese Thomas. After the first game, he'd be like, you know what? Even though in that Boston series, I think Tyrese had 2 big games in that Boston series. But yeah, listen.
Tyrese was the
Tyrese is the type of player that Javonte Green would shut Tyrese's whole life down. And Tyrese would be looking like, did this 6'4" guy really just shut? Yeah, because you saw what Javonte did to Lowry a couple of games this season.
Yeah,
Tyrese Thomas has no shot. Javonte is getting Tyrese up out of there alone. We haven't even made it to Patrick Williams yet.
Tyrese will be ready to fight. I ain't gonna lie to you. What do we have? Ben Gordon averaged 20 points a game that season.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose 16. John Salmons averaged 18
points per game that season.
Hey man, that's starting 5, man. I don't know, dog. I don't know. It's closer than I would have given. I would still give the edge to the 21-22 team. Because I think then you go to the bench, right? And then you're talking about, all right, we got Brad Miller. Brad Miller. Ooh, Brad Miller. I ain't even think about it. Brad Miller might give Vooch some work. Brad Miller had really
Brad
good
Miller's
footwork.
definitely whoever the backup center is. Brad Miller's definitely whoever our backup center would be in this series.
Well, yeah, that's a given. But I think Brad starting. I think Brad was
Was
starting over
Brad
Joe King.
Joe wasn't starting then?
No, Joe King.
I think that was the season
No,
Joe
maybe he
took
was.
over as starter.
No,
Yeah,
Joe
Joe
King
took
was
over as
starting.
starter that
Joe
season.
King was starting
Yeah.
80. He started 55 games that year. I think Brad Miller started the season starting, or Drew Gooden, one of them. But yeah, man, like, hey, that would be a interesting.
That would be a fun series to watch.
What's it going to? What would, if you?
Oh,
If
that's
it's,
going 7.
if it's a series, is it going 7?
That's going 7. That's going 7.
Bro, that 08 team might sneak it out if it's going 7, bro.
Yeah, like I said, we're going
I think,
fully healthy. And you notice who another player we didn't talk about at all? We ain't even talked about Ayo Dosunmu.
Ayo going up against who would have been our backup point that season? Ayo versus old Lindsey Hunter. Is that what that would have been?
Yeah.
That was our backup point guard. Derrick Rose. No, Kirk was our backup point guard.
Oh yeah, because Derrick Rose was starting.
Because Derrick Rose was there. So
that the defensive matchups, the cross.
That's a matchup there. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ayo versus Kirk. That's a matchup. I'd get that. I'd buy tickets for that alone.
That would be a fun series, bro. That would definitely be a fun series.
Hey man,
all right, who's your pick? I made mine. I'm still picking 21-22. Who's your pick to get it on?
You know what? I might have convinced myself during this, dog. I think I'm gonna go 08. If it goes, I agree with you. It's gonna go 7. I think this 08 team can lock in defensively, and they got a star.
Okay.
You got Derrick Rose in that series versus Boston was crazy, and Rondo was crazy good defensively already as well. He was cooking Rondo. I think Derrick Rose and Ben Gordon would make it tough on that. I'm going to go 08-09 Bulls start, 21-22 Bulls bench. I'm cutting the 04, the baby Bulls. I hate to do it to y'all, man. I hate to do it to y'all again, right? Again, but yeah.
You got to do it, man. Got to do it. Got to do it. But that's it from us for today, unless you got anything else, Pat.
That's it, man. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Also follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls, man. We appreciate y'all for showing so much love all the time.
Absolutely. You can follow me at CEO Haize, at CEO Haize. And thank you for making us your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, go and listen to Ultimate NBA Mock Draft. Listen, the mock draft has been made. It's locked in. They got their mocks in. And I guarantee you, because of the people who work on it, it's probably going to be very close to what we see in reality, unless some crazy deals go on. So make sure you go and listen to them. Make them your second listen of the day. They're available wherever you get your podcast. But that's it. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize, and we out, y'all.
Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.